Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Serving Nerve, where we talk about whatever we want, and today we're going to be going through Redpill Cringe. Yes, Redpill Cringe TikToks, let's see what they're all about, see how red-pilled we can become. A little context here is Redpill is kind of like alpha male, pro-masculinity, anti, hoe culture or whatever, anti, being taken over and controlled by women culture, that kind of vibe, being a go-getter, that kind of thing. So, red pill and alpha male, they're kind of interchangeably used. We did go through a little alpha male previously, and today we're going to be going through a little bit of red pill, so, yeah, let's just get into it and see where this goes.
She says this, respond like this. So how was the date?
I don't know, I think we should just be friends.
I already have enough friends, to be honest.
One thing I have to say is, I don't know anybody who has ever asked, so how was the date? I've never ever, interacted with anybody who has said that. Usually, it either goes well, and you try to plan to see each other again, or, it doesn't go that well, and you're like, oh yeah, we should see each other again, blah, 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 and then you just don't talk to each other again. I've never been, asked, so how was the date? How was it? Did you like it? I've never been asked that. I just have to point this out because I think it's kind of weird. Obviously this is kind of a skit. And then the idea of it being I just want to be friends and all that stuff. Dude, I feel like if you have one date with somebody and it does not work out, you do not want to be friends. You don't want to associate, unless you know them previously and have started out as friends, you're not going to be very inclined to consistently be friends. That's just my opinion. But maybe it's because I kind of treat dating and friendships like they're two different approaches. I don't try and mix the two. If I'm approaching somebody as a friend, I'm going to approach them as a friend. If I'm approaching somebody as a date, I'm going to approach them as a date. So, I don't know. But, then this person says I already have enough friends, to be honest. It's oh no, what a loss. I don't know what the point of this is. It's what are you going to incentivize them to do? Basically, you just shut it down. Just shut it down. Don't even bother responding. I just don't see the point. This kind of implies, they're gonna be oh, no, wait. No, come back to me. But in reality, nobody cares that much. They can just meet other people. So, I don't know.
Oh, where are you going?
I want to find me another girl.
You might not see me again, so follow me.
I hope not to. This was terrible advice. I don't know what the point of this was.
This is a very controversial topic because this shit right here can get your ass put in jail if you do this wrong. This topic itself is why a lot of celebrities get a lot of rape charges because they like to kick women out for not wanting to have sex in a rude way. And see, it's perfectly fine for a woman to come over and not want to have sex. She is in her right to not want to do that. But she's also not about to come over and then just soak up all my attention, watch all my TV, eat up all my food, and just be getting cuddled all day. And the next thing,
I think you have the right to kick somebody out if they're just screwing around and don't want to be with you, right? You can just call it off. It's your place. You can just say, I'm sorry, I feel uncomfortable. I feel like we want two different things. You can de-escalate it and be I think you should go home. If you really want to be nice about it, you call them an Uber or something if they aren't, with a car or something like that. But I feel like this is also one of those situations where are you not well acquainted with the individual? Because I don't know how hookup culture works. I feel like it's a little hookup-y because personally, I don't believe in going to somebody's house unless I know them enough. But that's just me. But I feel like this is a little weird because it's okay, well, if you have a romantic inclination for one another, but it's also they don't want to do anything intimate with you, there's also that balance of starting out with things like cuddling and less, intense things besides just intercourse. But I don't know, this is just so weird. I don't think that telling somebody to leave or, kicking somebody out or telling them to leave would result in any kind of charge. You have the right if it's your place. So I don't know what the point of this is. It's just so weird. And what are you going to say to de-escalate this? You can already de-escalate it. I just don't understand. It's yeah, they come over, what are you offering them? What are you doing? You don't want somebody to come over and just cuddle with you and eat your food and stuff. It's this is just so weird. It's so weird. The context of getting somebody into your house and then all of this, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused. The context is a little bit weird to me.
then you find out that she was at John house last night getting tore up after she got done cuddling with you. You wouldn't believe how common that is. So you are in your right to not want to feel obligated to have a woman in your house that doesn't want to have sex. And this is what you say to kick her out in a respectful manner. You say, look, I see that you're not comfortable with wanting to have sex, and I'm not comfortable with trying to talk you into having sex with me. So I'm gonna need you to go home, think about it, and if you change your mind, we can set up another day to see each other. Get the text or ebook link.
I mean, that doesn't sound very inappropriate to me. Like, maybe it's because I'm being stupid about this, but I think it's better to just be formal about it. Like, if you want two different things, then you de-escalate it. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm kind of dumb, because I'm not well-versed with relationships, alright? But I don't think what he's saying is that crazy. Like, you know, maybe it's the idea of, like, that entitlement for that interaction maybe being proposed. But then he's also, like, de-escalating it by not, like, trying to talk somebody into intercourse. Like, he's not, like, trying to talk anybody into intercourse or anything like that, so I don't really think it's that inappropriate. Maybe it's just kind of, like, how he built it up. Like, the way he explained it and stuff with, like, I don't want you coming into my house and, like, cuddling and just eating all my food and stuff. I don't know. But I just don't feel like it's that crazy. Like, it's not like he's saying women have to have sex with me or anything like that. He's just saying, like, you know, I don't want to get in trouble for this. You know, I'm not trying to talk this person into sex. They obviously don't want to have sex with me. Am I stupid? Does this seem inappropriate? Because I think this is actually a really good de-escalation tactic, and obviously if you have two different things that you want from each other, then it's like null and void. Don't worry about it. I don't know. I've heard way worse things happen to people who go to other people's homes, so when I hear this, I'm like, okay, well that doesn't seem that bad. It just seems like, I don't want you here. Get out. Like, whatever. Maybe the book is the cringy thing. I don't know.
The majority of women, not all, but the majority of women, when you're explaining things to them as a man, they aren't listening to understand. They're waiting to be offended, or they're listening to have an emotional response.
I don't know what women this dude's, like, talking to that has proposed this. It sounds like very hyper-critical women, I guess, but what are you also saying to them? And then this comment says they continually miss the point. Like, if you can't have a meaningful conversation with somebody, that's a genuine problem. That is actually a genuine problem. But the stereotyping of all women, or a significant sum of women, is unfortunate because it also doesn't really make a good point. When you generalize, usually you destroy the entire concept of an argument when outliers come to call you out. So, I don't know. I just think it's a bad example.
Either good or bad, depending on who they are. So it doesn't matter how much you're going to explain, how many facts, data, statistics, even combining it with your own life experiences. They don't care because it doesn't serve them, it doesn't serve their ego, their emotions. And if you're talking to a woman like that, you just move on.
Yeah, moving on from those kinds of people is good, but that's such a generalization. That's the problem. It's so generalized. And the other thing is, it's like, you can have many conversations. In fact, women will make the same arguments about men. You can have many conversations that are incredibly meaningful with people, just in general, like with men and women. And if you don't find that with specific interactions with people, you find that, then they could have, you know, more self-serving tactics. They could not be very interested in you. There are tons of variables. But when this person's talking about, you know, your own perspective, your own experiences, statistics, facts, and studies, but they don't give any explanation or information on what the specific, like, you know, subject matter is, you could say in either way. It's like the girl doesn't listen when I'm talking facts, or this guy's not talking facts and he's actually, like, saying something ridiculous and insane and nobody wants to listen to him. It could be either way. So, I don't know. This is just kind of dumb.
This video kind of highlights certain things. Of course, they're not the most, let's say, aware, educated, self-improved women, but the majority do deep down think and feel this way. They don't care about your problems. They don't care about you, men. They don't care. Take care of yourself and God bless.
I think that's very untrue. There are some women who really don't care. They operate with more self-serving tactics. Maybe they just want to be heard. Maybe they just want to talk about their own problems. And they don't really care about you or whatever. They just want somebody to vent to or use. But I don't think most women think that way. I think that's a very specific type of woman. And also I think that's a very specific type of man, because men also do the same thing. I think that a lot of women, some find it annoying, but I think, like, guys who are willing to have deep conversations and be able to, you know, be open with their emotions towards people and explain things, even if they're not having to be super emotional, just be open about their emotions and their experiences. It actually creates a very good conversation because it's relatable on a human level. So, I don't know. I think that this is kind of ridiculous, and it's all just generalization, and it's a little subjective.
We all know that most girls want a guy who makes good money, you know, has a stable income and career. However, this new breed of females are literally equivalent to blood-sucking vampires. In this case, the blood being the cold, hard cash of rich men. These girls refer to themselves as bimbos, and their primary objective in life is to go after innocent rich men for their money.
Okay, one, this is not a new breed. This has been happening literally since the beginning of time. Like, women have always been like, I want the man with higher status, more money, more stability. I want to have a family with this man. I want to have a man who can take care of me and propose like a fortified relationship or financial stability or whatever. That is not a new breed. That is something that has been around forever. The other thing is like innocent rich men. Most rich men know what they're getting into, and if they find that they're like interacting with a girl who's got that kind of gold digger vibe, they can just choose to not involve themselves. In fact, some rich people, they'll just not disclose that they're rich or well off. And in my opinion, I think it's completely reasonable for either person in a relationship, a man or a woman, to want financial stability from the other, especially since it takes two to tango. Usually with women, it's more common, like trying to find a man who can, you know, provide for them, because they'll also have other things that they're going to be focusing on. Like the stereotypical red pill vibe is they want a woman who's going to be like a housewife who pops out the kids and, you know, does all this stuff. You have to have a balance here. If you want that, you have to be able to provide for that. So I'm just kind of confused as to what these people want. Like this gold digger vibe, it's bad to get a gold digger. They do exist. It sucks. When somebody looks at you just for money, it sucks. But at the same time, it's not exclusive to a specific generation. It can happen on either sides of the spectrum. And, you know, just deal with it, dude. Like, you just don't have to go out with them. You can tell what a gold digger is. Like, if she doesn't seem vested in your interests or provides you with anything loving, then maybe she's not the right person for you. You just have to dig through the sea of swine in order to find what's gonna be yours. Like, and then, yeah, you have to provide for that. Like, you have to at least provide emotionally, you know? Like, you have to provide something to that relationship. And in cases where you want to have a family, you'll have to provide financially, because that also takes a lot of input and effort from the chick. Like, she's gonna have to pop out kids, she's not gonna have time to be working. It's that kind of vibe. So I don't know what the point of this is. But I don't know, it's been happening forever, so I don't really know what to say about it. And also, like, it's so general. But I feel like, again, it takes two to tango with this. Like, yeah, gold diggers, you know, they're gold diggers. But then a guy, a lot of the time they'll look at a chick and be like, she's not hot enough. Like, she doesn't provide me with everything, you know? She doesn't give me everything that I want physically from her. She won't do all these weird sex things with me. Like, it's on both sides that people have unrealistic standards for one another, so I don't know.
This is Bimbos, and their primary objective in life is to go after innocent rich men for their money.
The problem with weak men. Masculinity isn't toxic. It's men who aren't masculine who are toxic. Weak little men use and abuse women instead of stepping up to lead and protect them. Our society is suffering from a shortage of real masculinity, and it brings great harm to women and children who have no protectors. In part, I actually agree with this. It does depend on the overall, like, specific situation and the perspective an individual can have when it comes to what masculinity really entails. You know, toxic masculinity, the whole red pill vibe. I know this is like on a Cringe compilation, and I don't know what the other things this person says or writes, but toxic masculinity is the idea of keeping a woman down, you know, restricting her of things. And a lot of people that I've seen, like white knights and like incels and stuff, they have more that perspective. And there's also that contrast actually with some white knights where I've seen like they really try to put women on a pedestal and be controlled by them. But it's just so that at the end of the day, they can get what they want, like sex or something, or feel controlled by women, and they like use that somehow. But it's also like, I don't know, it's like the male feminist vibe where it's like women deserve all of these things because we never gave it to them, so they're just oppressed, and I'm helping an oppressed class and all that stuff. Like, it's like the white knight oppressed class perspective of women is bad. But when it comes to this, I think that actually masculinity can be very healthy for providing a healthy, loving relationship for women. It depends on what the woman wants, too. It depends on what the relationship is there. But I think that, you know, holding her up as your equal, but also providing for her and knowing she provides for you, having that balance, but also being maybe the more powerful sort, maybe in a physical, financial sense, it will empower her. You're supposed to empower each other, and there is a healthy level of masculinity. Masculinity in itself is not toxic, you know? It's not supposed to come off as exclusively toxic. It's supposed to imply strength, male strength. And there's ways you can utilize that without it being at all toxic, so it just depends on the situation. But masculinity in itself isn't toxic. It's the same thing as femininity. They can be really toxic if perceived and utilized incorrectly and operated with in a more domineering way. But at the same time, they can be very empowering, completely healthy for one another, and be utilized to create a like wonderful relationship or an outstanding society and whatnot. Like, in my opinion, if you have good masculinity, it's the idea of like a girl's drunk outside of a bar and a guy's trying to pick her her up and you, in your masculine way, stop the guy from, you know, picking her up or whatever, you know, taking her maybe to some kind of place that she wouldn't want to go when she's that intoxicated, you know, or whatever. It's just an idea, but like the idea of masculinity itself being toxic is stupid. There's a balance. And it's all about balances. And this is why I don't like the red pill stuff. I find it's more extreme. The alpha male stuff more extreme. Like women are all hoes, keep them down, they belong in the kitchen, that kind of thing. Although I personally think I belong in the kitchen because I'm great at cooking, but that's just my opinion. But it's good to have that balance of femininity, masculinity. They're both powerful. They can be empowering. They're very good for you in some senses. It's good to be comfortable with those sides of yourself, but it's good to use them in moral ways. And it's good to have that equalism amongst one another and that balance and that self-empowerment also to empower one another. So that's just my opinion. I know it's weird, but I hope I explained that well without coming off as too crazy. Real masculinity is the cure to toxic masculinity. I mean, saying toxic masculinity in itself, you can have masculinity be toxic. So I don't know. It's whatever. There are certain men who will utilize masculinity in a toxic way and others in a non-toxic way. I just think it's about that balance and finding that perspective and obviously empowering one another, whether you're masculine or feminine or not so, you know?
Every time I've met a single mother, she is fucked up. She's got a problem. She's got issues. She is a fucking mess. Every single fucking time. No exception. She doesn't have much money. Okay, the vast majority of single mothers do not have much money. So the single mother meets a guy, you, and you can provide her with a decent life because, you know, presumably you've got a good job or a little business or what have you. So what is her incentive going to be? To land you.
Don't act like a victim, bro. Listen, this is coming from somebody who had a single mother growing up for almost the entirety of their life. My mother is a great example of a single mother. She didn't have time to worry about men. She was trying to take care of us, dude. You know, you got 3 kids that you're trying to raise. You've got money that you gotta make for rent. Like, you're a mess. Yeah, you're a mess. You're on your own. Like, you have nothing. You have nobody. Like, nobody's there for you. You don't know who to turn to. Maybe you don't have family. We didn't have any family to take care of us. It was just her and some friends. And, you know, she tried her best and she did a great job with us, in my opinion. Like, I don't know how she did it. I would not cope with that pressure. Like, and she started having kids when she was like 18, dude. Like, she had that single motherhood vibe from the age of 18. If I look back on when I was 18, I'm like, bro, I would lose my mind. I wouldn't cope. I can't believe she could do that. It's impressive to say the least. And at that time, she had a little more help, but she was actually predominantly on her own and she still rocked it. And I know other single mothers, some of them take horrible paths. They don't take care of their kids. They just look at their own selves and they look, you know, to men for, you know, validation and whatever, or they, you know, they abuse their pathways, or, you know, they don't take care of their kids well. I know other single mothers who work their asses off. They don't have time to look at relationships. And when they do, they find that maybe, oh, maybe this could be a man who actually loves me, unlike the men that have betrayed me in the past or whatever. There's that balance, but don't act like such a victim. Like, you can choose whether you end up with a single mother or not. And if you don't like that position, you don't like that situation, you don't have to get involved in it. But I just think it's so, like, scuzzy to act like, oh yeah, they're gonna try and land you, they're gonna bait you, they're gonna seduce you. Like, you have no control over what you do as an individual, and it's like they're gonna steal your entire existence by just existing around you or something. I don't know, man. It's just cringe. Like, this is cringe.
That's her incentive. She's going to try to land you no matter what. And she will say and do anything to please you. Anything to get you. And once she has you, once she has married you, what do you think she's going to be like? She's going to relax. She's going to say, I got a man who can support me. I don't have to be working. I can be with my kid, blah, blah, you know, have a nice house. Yeah, of course, she's going to relax. And then the real version of who she is going to come out. The real woman is going to come out from behind this facade.
That's not inherently toxic. You're supposed to be relaxed and open in a relationship, and the more you get to know somebody, the more likely you are to understand their pros, their cons, their flaws. Usually it's better if you know these things prior, but this is with any relationship, and also it's on both sides. The men will also do the same thing. This takes just you being in a relationship a long time, living together. That's a big thing. You know, men and women, When you start living together, you'll notice, hey, more lazy than the other, doesn't make their bed, is more unsanitary, is, messier, doesn't take care of themselves as much, or maybe they're overwhelmed with other things in their life, they don't focus on things enough, etc. Like, it's gonna be on both sides of the spectrum. You have different ways of operating in different spaces. You put those two people together, and guess what? If you relax around each other enough, maybe they'll see all of your flaws. It's about working through those flaws and just understanding what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. And that's the balance. There are going to be things in every relationship that you're not going to like. There are going to be things in every relationship that you're going to experience that you're going to have to work through. And what creates a healthy relationship is your ability to work through those things. But when I hear this, I'm like, dude, it's so ignorant, because you will also do the same things. You both will be more relaxed around each other and do the same things, and you'll both have to work with each other to balance that out. And if you're single at that point, it's on you and her. Like, it takes two to tango in this regard. It takes two to have that balance. And yeah, you'll both do the same things. And also, if she's a single mother, maybe she's gonna be more focused on her kids than you. Maybe you won't like that. I don't know. I just think it's a little ridiculous and kind of arrogant to say this, because there's also that balance on the other side where the guy's gonna do the same thing and you guys gotta work through it, or it's not gonna work out. So I don't know. So the quote says, I love you, but I need time to heal and focus on myself. The translation, I would say the translation is just, I'm not interested. Like, I feel like if you go on a date with somebody and they say this, it just implies they're not interested. If they're a friend and then, they're kind of into you, but not, or they give some signs, this could be more like, listen, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I can't cope with this right now. That kind of vibe. Translation, I want to try someone else and not feel guilty about it. So I'm assuming that the I love you, but I need time to heal and focus on myself is like a breakup quote. And obviously this guy is like glowing out in the gym, so I'm thinking like, yeah, breakup quote. But when it comes to this, that's not the best in my opinion, but it's just breaking up, dude. Like, you just gotta deal with it. It sucks. It does suck. I wish I was given that much grace. Instead, it was just me and my ex in a 5-hour car ride, breaking each other down and talking about each other's flaws and giving each other advice for the future, whilst also having broken up on the way back from Christmas dinner with my family. It was just so weird. Kind of like cringy, very awkward, definitely a very incel conversation, I'll tell you that much. The I want to try somebody else and not feel guilty, like, I'd rather have somebody say that, literally say that to my face and break up with me than just like beat around the bush and be like, listen, like, I love you, blah, 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 like, I still want to be with you, but I just need me time. It's like, most people know it's kind of bullshit when they say that, but I don't know. I just don't have very much faith in people in that regard. I think that most people are just like, listen, like, it's not working out, like, just deal with it. And you have to deal with it. If that happens and it's not working out, that's just life. Like, that's how relationships sometimes work. And you'll be a better person moving past that relationship, because obviously it's not, like, right for you. So it's better to just move on and then find somebody else who's better. But anyways, that's the video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about some of this red pill content? And yeah, some of it, in my opinion, is not that cringy, and then other parts of it are pretty cringy. So I don't know. That's just my opinion though, so tell me what you think, and I will see you all next time. I hope you all enjoyed, my people. It has been lovely. Slater.